Pain, suffering, discomfort, overall misery is a requirement. Doesn't sound good, does it? Doesn't sound like a fun place to be. But it's a fact. If we are going to make big changes in our life, these are usually the things that are required to make it happen. Because the reward of success is often not enough to motivate us to overcome the obstacles that will be in our way. But the pain that we have been in, the pain and the suffering and all of that we have gone through usually is enough, but to a certain extent. And here is the problem. And this is why comfort is so dangerous. It's why it is crushing us as men, as a society, as everything. We seek this comfort because we want to get out of pain. Completely understandable. You know, you put your hand on the stove. What do? You take your hand off the motherfucking stove. It's logical. You want to get out of pain. But once you kind of get it far enough away, removed from the pain, you start to move forward. And you forget about that thing. And you move forward with just being comfortable again. Now, that's not a perfect analogy, if I'm being truly honest. But it is that one when it comes to what will it take to change, to seek a better life, to do the things that you know are required, because they are difficult. It is going to hurt. It requires you getting comfortable being uncomfortable. Your body is going to ache. You're going to have to do things that you don't want to do. This is the requirement of achieving greatness. In fact, it's part of the reason why the majority of people never even get close to reaching their potential, let alone greatness, because it's difficult. It requires effort and getting, as I say, comfortable being uncomfortable. So when we're getting to this point of we must change, we must do something to change, what will push you over the edge? And I myself am the same, that this concept of achieving our greatness in whatever that may be, whether that's money, that's physique, that's business, that's family, that's relationships, whatever it may be, the idea of having the best version of that is wonderful and something we desire. But when shit hits the fan, it's not enough to keep you pushing forward. When you reach a point of being comfortable, you're like, do I really want to keep doing that work? Do I really want to keep pushing forward and grinding and doing that kind of stuff? No. The answer is no. But when you have pain, when you have the fear of dying before seeing your kids grow up, when it physically hurts you to look in the mirror, and it hurts you deep inside your soul to see that man looking out at you, when your beautiful little baby comes up and asks you if you can come play with them, jump on the trampoline, run around, ride the bikes with them, whatever it may be, and you say no, not because you don't want to, but because you're physically incapable of it. Or you take your kids to the park and you can't chase them because you can't. When you are falling short and you are not providing for your family in the way that you should, when you are not showing up as the best version of yourself and you start seeing those traits appear in your children, when you haven't seen your goddamn dick in God knows how long, when you are showing up as less than the best of yourself, that hurts. And it's always a hard one because I have people who disagree with me on this greatly. But I think you need to internalize that pain. You need to find somewhere and store it and use it as a fucking weapon, as fuel on your fire to keep going and a chip on your shoulder. Because there are going to be days where you cannot fathom doing this. Where there are going to be days where you're like, this is just too fucking hard. I'm too tired. It's too much. It's too late. Whatever the fucking answer is, or excuse is in this case. And you need to be able to draw on that motivation to be like, doesn't matter. Doesn't fucking matter. I am getting this Done. End of story. I'm going to show up and I'm going to get this done. Because insert pain here. Now, for me, as I've said to you before, I've had multiple wake-up calls. The first one, when I created the first iteration of 126 to Greatness, was at my daughter's first birthday party. And this was a follow-on from a sequence of events, but she was turning 1 and I was about to turn 30. I looked at this perfect, beautiful little angel, and I was like, I want to be here for as many more of these as humanly possible. And when she was 6 months old, I had a serious scare with my heart. And then I'd let shit get worse. And I was now the heaviest I'd ever been. I was the most out of shape I'd ever been. And we're having her birthday party, and I go, fuck. Is this who I'm going to be? The hypocritical, out of shape dad who runs a fitness company? Is that who I'm going to be? And that hurt. You know, and I started to think about it, and I was like, who is she going to think I am? Who is she going to aspire to be based on who I am? Is she going to think it's okay to lie to yourself? To lie to the world? To tell people to do something but then not live it yourself? To live in hypocrisy? Is she going to think that's okay? Who is she going to turn out as when I preach these things of chase your dreams? You can be the best version of yourself. How we do anything is how we do everything. All these kinds of things. And then she looks at me and goes, well, you don't, Dad. That hurts. And look, these are fictional conversations that I had in my head. And yet I knew that if I continued down that path, that's where I would end up. I would end up being a disappointment to my daughter. There were already things that I couldn't do with her. I couldn't take her for a run. I couldn't take her for a walk, bike rides and walk with her. I couldn't climb things anymore. Like, I was already disappointing her, and she's only fucking 1. What was that another 20 years to that going to look like? So I internalized that pain. And I made a change. And I transformed my life. I lost 33 kilos in 126 days. Completely different fucking man. But I got comfortable. I reached the other side. Life happened. You know, blew out my knee, blew out my shoulder. Went back to working full-time in my studio. I work 45 hours a week on the floor now. Life changed. But I got comfortable. So I had to shift that again. I had to find that pain and internalize it. And here comes the comeback tour. And even within that, I haven't turned it around as well as I did the first time. And that fucking hurts. And that's a pain that is pissing me off. Every time I look in the mirror and I'm like, I'm not that guy. Yeah, that's a fucking problem. Time to fucking change. Keep doing the work. So you need to internalize this pain. And I am sure I'm going to get people who are like, that's not a healthy way to fucking live. Cool. You know what's also not healthy? Diabetes, heart disease, obesity, all those kinds of things on just the physical level. You know what's also not healthy? Not reaching your potential. That eating away at your soul as a man, seeing the disappointment in your children's eyes. Those things are also not good for you. So let's pick our evils here. And I think if that is the driver that pushes you to do the things that you have to do, that's a worthwhile trade-off. And the other thing that you need to find, and it's why I have built 126 to Greatness the way it is that you just have to show up every single day. Regardless of that shit. It doesn't matter what that looks like. You need to show up and do the work. Because it's about doing the work. It's not about the outcomes. They will come. It is about being disciplined. It is about a zero choice mentality. It is about building mental toughness. It's about carving away the shit that does not serve you. It's about becoming the best father, husband, and man that you can physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually be. It's about showing up as the greatest version of you. This is what we are doing. So yeah, the outcomes of the body and, being a better version of yourself and all that kind of stuff will come. But all we focus on is one day at a time, and showing up and completing that list to the absolute highest capacity we can. That is what this is about. That is where your greatness comes from. It's not from this idea of, you do this for a spurt and then great things happen. No, it's about learning the discipline of the work, of showing up every single day and striving to be the best version of yourself. It's about getting comfortable being uncomfortable, openly and willingly taking on challenges that are hard, that push you to your limits, and conquering them, learning that skill so that whenever anything is thrown at you, it doesn't fucking matter. You are ready and effortlessly able to handle it. That is what 126 to Greatness is about. It's about becoming the best version of you. And it's about leaving behind that version that caused you so much pain. You need to internalize it, channel it, and utilize it to become the best version of yourself. But apart from that, it is done and dusted. The second you make that commitment, you burn the motherfucking boats and you are all in. You make that commitment, and now it's 126 days to your greatness. You are going to be the best version of yourself if you commit, if you do the work, if you push yourself past your comfort zone. So my question is, are you ready? Are you ready to become that best version of yourself? I believe you are. You wouldn't still be here if you weren't. So it's time to take some action. You know where to find me when you're ready to actually step up. Until then.